Dr. Zaato, on this, it's going to be a graduated conversation. The verdict on oral, you've heard it from a member of the preparatory team, was not a waste of resources. It came in to fill a very critical gap at that time to ensure that people have the confidence to come up with information. The Attorney General is working on it, albeit, it says, in a slow but very effective pace.
Thank you very much. First, I just want to say something. I'm quoting the Deputy Attorney General, said, oral's 21 billion recovery figure not supported by evidence. That's something that the Deputy Attorney General is alleged to have said that it wasn't, okay? And then I have another statement here. Oral data included garbage. Entries collected without verification. That is also coming from a member of what? Oral. Telling us that the information they collected is garbage, is crap, and that, or some of the information, and that oral's 20 billion recovery not supported by evidence. I want to situate my presentation based on these two fundamental things. Look, I have a theory that I've passed and I've said it here. I believe in accountability. And I believe in regime accountability and post-regime accountability. I believe that if a government in power, either through your actions or inactions, willfully or roughly, refuse to hold your own people to account for office, that is regime accountability. That the next government that comes has every right and must use every legitimate means to hold those people accountable. At the end of the day, so long as there's accountability, at the end of the day, so long as we are telling people that if you raise your hand and swear an oath to occupy a public office, there is a day you will be held accountable. And when that day comes, so long as your fundamental human rights are protected, and so long as the presumptions of innocence, all those basic things, so long as they are respected, you will never see me come and sit here and try to justify to somebody for what they have not done. No. Let the law take its course. Let the people's right be respected. Let it go there. I want to say that. And at the end of the day, my belief too is that let the courts and not a politician decide the fate of the people that are signed.
Okay.
I believe in those things. Then that is what brought me to this issue. Oral, even if we cannot get the 20 billion or whatever it is, oral get money. People are being prosecuted. I have no problem with that. But here's where I have the problem, or here's where I have the issue. When this Attorney General came in, he issued up to 6 or 5 nolle prosecutors. Prosequi. Oh, thank you. Prosecutors, thank you.
Prosequi.
He issued them.
Yeah.
I call those sweetheart deals to all those who got the nolle prosecutors were members of the NDC. The government did not allow a court of competent jurisdiction to determine this person's guilt or innocence. No. They denied a court that decision. And those were made by a politician and they benefited a politician. They were made by an NDC Attorney General and they benefited former and current NDC officials. Sweetheart deals. If you add the money, the total money in all these nolle prosecute cases, they will be equal to, or they will be almost close to what the money oral was supposed to get. That is money now flies down the toilet. These people also bought properties, plenty properties. These people also made investment. We've now told them, our government has come, Abai Papa Abba, and because Abai Papa has go chop the money, spend the money. Your freedom is there. Do whatever you want with that money. We'll drop the cases for you. But now we are chasing another money that we say people have stolen. Imagine in a fair country. Imagine we had a minister of justice, who says, look, even though you are my party member, even though we are in the same party, I will let the courts determine your fate. I will let the courts determine whether you are guilty or not. Let the courts do that. Meanwhile, I will also and chase these ones. Imagine we collected both monies. Imagine in a just world, we collected the money of the 7 or 5 or nolle prosequi cases, and then we also chased these people and collected all their money. We'll be rich. We could easily fund Big Push. We could easily establish the Women Development Bank. We could easily pay cocoa farmers the 6,000 we promised them. We could easily do almost all the transformational things that this government has promised. My point is, why do you tell some group of people who are all your political friends keep the money that you are alleged to have stolen? And in almost all the cases, you made something. Is it presumption of
innocence? Yes.
No, where you get to in the court and the Attorney General has made this case. Prima facie has been established and they have opened their cases. That means that the courts have determined that there were questions to be answered. Not a human being. You could say the case was weak, the case agreed. In the ambulance case, in the cocoa board case, the snake case. Okay, good. But I'm saying that in some of the cases, in the cases, they have passed that stage where the court has found that the evidence provided that the people should open their defense, right? They have passed that stage. My point is, where is the hearing? Why don't you let it go? So you left, so imagine all the money, let's say it was 50 billion that those people were alleged to have stolen, and then it's $50 billion here, 50 billion. You are saying, these people, keep the $50 billion. Chop it, do whatever you want it. But I will now start chasing this $50 billion. I think it's unethical and I think it's fair. And a minister of justice must seem to be doing justice to all right now. He says you're only doing justice to indecent friends, but injustice to people that you perceive to political opponents. Now, there's something there I completely agree with Martin. That in doing these cases, we should also look for retrieval, not necessarily convictions. Yeah. And my benchmark will be, that is why I completely disagree with the 60-40 with the Unibank case. My fundamental starting process is this. You are allowed to have stolen this one. Pay all the money. 2, with interest. That's where I'll start the negotiations from. I'll tell the Attorney General, if I could advise you, look, pay all the money first. If you are alleged to have stolen $2 million, you pay it first with at least 10% interest. Okay. Once we have all this money, then we can talk. I will go for that because, as we've seen, in 2028, NDC loses power, they make me Attorney General. Okay, they won't make me because I'm not a lawyer, right? And then I come and say, hey, all of you are my friends, let's share the money and you go home. What happens? The state keeps losing. And there's something. These accused people are smart, they are intelligent, and they have money, and they can hire the best lawyers in this country. The best lawyers money can buy, like the Quebus. Some of us, we cannot afford the Quebus. They can afford the Quebus. They can afford the best lawyers. And these lawyers know the system. They can play the system out. And that's why we've seen that a case stays in court for almost 8-7 years. It's because of the brilliance and intelligence of defense attorneys. Assuming we do that, if we put the retrieval on the board and say, do this, then it will also help. So that they don't lose. The president also did something this week that I want to applaud him for. You said I'm always, but I'm not. Setting up the special course to retrieve the monies from the auditor generals. Mm-hmm. Smart idea, brilliant idea, wonderful. I completely agree with that. That is how we begin to bring people to accountability. Let it be done. But also, Mr. President, I think we should structure it in a way like this. Once again, get the money. Mm-hmm. If you are a chief executive or whatever you are, and you say you've stolen this money, let's get the money with interest first. Then secondly, there must be something punitive. And the punitive is that if you were a chief director, let's drop you by a point or 2. Mm-hmm. You were a chief, all of a sudden you are now a manager. We've taken the money, we've taken this, and then do that. If we do these things, we'll begin to improve our public governance. These are the things we need to do to make sure that how we govern the country and that we don't give opportunity for people to loot this country and hide it somewhere. We must seem to be fair.